Oh, here goes, and welcome to the 140th episode of Throwback Hoops. Woody V's in the house. Please follow the show on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. And as always, I'm joined by my main man, Robbie Clayton. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Woods? Great to be back, mate. It's a nice sunny day outside. I've just been shooting some hoops in the front yard, so I'm a little bit puffed still, but yeah, it's great to be back.
Well, really exciting time of the year. We're getting towards that silly season, let's say, summer break. Everyone breaks up for the Christmas period, so everyone in good spirits, right?
Well, we're 2 more sleeps away from the NBA, right? So we're recording Monday the 21st of October, so 2 more sleeps. So absolutely can't wait for that. And of course, the NBL is getting better and better every week as well. So yeah, bring it on.
Awesome. Well, a lot to get into today, Robbie. So why don't we kick things off with your jersey?
Sounds good. So I'll stand up and show you the one I'm rocking today. It's basically the latest arrival. It arrived on Friday, and I know you know who this one is, but I'll just stand up and show everyone what I'm wearing.
And Robbie's wearing the black Illawarra Hawks Davo Hickey jersey, and Robbie got myself the red version of the same jersey, right?
You do. It's in the cupboard now, all
Nice.
sealed there. So when I see you next, I'll give you that. But really nice jerseys, actually. I like the colours on these ones. It looks kind of better. I know they had that big gap between, like, I think the champion logo here makes it sort of look a bit better there. But yeah, so just a little bit about the jersey I'm wearing. So it's a black champion William Hickey Illawarra Hawks jersey. So loving the champion jerseys are backwards. I know the NBL have changed it quite a lot, haven't they? They had like first ever, they had Mitchell and Ness, a few other ones. I'm loving that they're doing the champion ones. So look, the man known as Davo is currently in his 3rd season with the Hawks after starting off his career in Melbourne. He had a handful of games for both Phoenix and United. So he had a great finish to last season. And so far this season, he's setting career highs in every category. So playing really important big minutes for the Hawks there. So look, I've really got a soft spot for Davo. Having the pleasure of getting to sort of say good day to him and then commentate his game this year when the Albury Bandits took on the mighty Hills Hornets. He had an absolutely outstanding NBL 1 season. So he won Defensive Player of the Year and was named to the All-Star 5. In my humble opinion, he should have also been the league MVP, but it got given to Will Cranston-Lown for the 2nd year in a row. So still only 25 years of age, Woods, which is pretty remarkable there. So I'm really excited to see how he goes and continuing to see him grow as a player. And look, I think if the Hawks are to make the finals again this year, he'll play a huge part for them. So as you mentioned, you've got the red Davo Hickey jersey, which I'll give you when I see you next. How fun is this guy to watch at both ends of the court?
Really fun. And let me take you back to the early episodes of Throwback Hoops. We had Finesse Main, Jaden Oakley, and we had Coach Hesh on the show, right? Yeah. And Jaden was telling us, obviously, he knows Davo Hickey very well. They're from the same community. They've come up together. And he said, I don't know why this guy hasn't got an opportunity yet. Back then, he was a development player for SEM. And Jaden had a Hickey jersey. And we didn't even know who he was, basically, back then, going back 3 years. And even my Coach Hesh was saying, I've played with him at lower levels. And this guy's a supreme athlete. I wonder why he hasn't been given that opportunity at the higher level yet. So it's awesome that after a few stops at Southeast Melbourne, then Melbourne, as you mentioned, he's finally got this opportunity at Illawarra, and he's making the most of it. And I think, NBL 1, that's where NBL 1 is really important for the development of some of these guys in the off-season,
really helped
right?
him, I reckon, hasn't it? Look, the thing that struck me, sitting in that front row and commentating in there was his defense. Woods. I think in the game I think he might have had 4 or 5 block shots, including like one of the 6'8" guys for Hills that literally drove in. Davo just met him at the hoop and just blocked the crap out of the shot. So really good timing. Look, he's someone that can probably play 3 positions. So he can play the 1, 2, or 3 there in certain matchups there. So very versatile player there. And yeah, really enjoying seeing what he's doing, and thought this is a pretty cool one to add to the collection.
Yeah, definitely. And nice. Thanks for getting me one as well.
No, of course, mate. I'm looking forward to see your one. I have a feeling it could be the world's longest ever NBA surname based on the number there. So why don't you show us what you're looking today? It's not. Okay.
I've actually already worn this jersey one day when we recorded in LA. Right.
So this might be a jersey we don't see worn very much this year.
Exactly why I wore it. Okay, give me 1 second.
All right, nice. So Woods has got the Clippers hat and jersey combo, and he's rocking a Kawhi Leonard jersey. So
and
that's the one we got at the game, right, Woods?
We did, and I remember we recorded in the hotel that evening, and we didn't really talk about Kawhi that much. But the reason I'm wearing this jersey is I know you were going back through some of your old cards today, and then your brother is a huge Clippers fan, and you pulled out his Clippers folder with all his cards and everything in it, and that kind of got me thinking about some stuff that's going on in the news. So it's a two-part question I have for you around Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, all right? So I'm just going to read something to you, and I want to get your thoughts, right?
Sure.
So in an incredibly not shocking development, the Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard is out indefinitely to begin the 24-25 NBA season as he continues to rehab his knee. His future has question marks hovering over it. So out indefinitely means, when is he going to be back? Is he ever going to... Will he ever play again? You know, that's even come up in the last week. And Kendrick Perkins, I know a lot of the stuff that he says should be taken with a grain of salt. But he has said that, look, I think it's time that Kawhi sits down with his friends, his family, people close to him, and has a serious discussion about whether he wants to continue playing or he should consider retirement. Then Chandler Parsons came out straight away, his partner on TV, and said, you're not the right guy to ask a Hall of Famer to do that. So I think there is some credence in what Perk has said. So firstly, let me ask about Kawhi Leonard and what his future holds. What the future holds for him. Yeah.
Like, indefinitely is not a good word to hear. Let's start off with that, right? So that was a bit of a shock coming out there. So we know he went to the USA, I think, team trials before the Olympics. He ended up getting sent home. Apparently he wanted to stay, but they're like, you're not healthy enough. He got sent home. Reported to training camp, played a pre-season game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong with that one. And then apparently his knees flared up again. So, look, part of me over the years has sort of wondered whether this guy's able to play through pain. We see some people do have different pain levels. The fact that he has gone under another procedure with the knee, maybe I'll sort of give him a bit more of a benefit of the doubt. This could be just one of these injuries now it's just not going to get better, and may force him to retire, like you said. It's interesting. You wonder if he's one of those guys that loves the game. He's such a quirky sort of guy. I feel like we don't know that question, right? You know, is he a gym rat? I don't know. So, yeah, it's pretty big news. It's shocking news for the Clippers, though. You know, 2 days out before the season starting. They've already lost PG. Now Kawhi's out. So, like, James Harden has certainly got his team this time, doesn't he? But, yeah, it's he's had a great career, but it's also been a little bit marred these last couple of years, right? You know, maybe the Clippers would have been better off in hindsight if they could have kept on to SGA and those 1,000 draft picks that they basically got rid of to try and get PG and Kawhi to join that year.
Yeah, and you make a good point. Not everyone likes what they do for a living. They're just good at it. So it's hard to quantitate what kind of level of enjoyment Kawhi has for the game. Okay, the second part of this question is when Kawhi, Paul George, and co joined up forces at the Clippers, the goal was a championship, right? Absolutely. They brought in James Harden. Now Paul George is left. Kawhi's out indefinitely. We now have James Harden going back to his Rockets days where he's just going to dribble the shit out of the ball and have a high usage rate on that Clippers team. Am I wrong in saying that? What's the Clippers going to be like?
Numbers. I picked him in a couple of fantasy leagues, and just for that very reason, he could average 30 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds maybe, or something like that, if he does get that usage and he stays healthy. We know he does sometimes have some injury issues there, but look, I don't mind some of the other players they've got on their team, but I don't see this being a team, and we've spoken about that in various predictions. I'm not that high on the Clippers this year, even less so with Kawhi out. But yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it? They're starting off in their new stadium. It was supposed to be a big thing for the Clippers now, and then everything seems to have gone wrong in this offseason in true Clippers style.
Definitely. And look, if we have seen the last of Kawhi, or we're not going to see much more of him, I don't think we're going to see that much more of him. He's at the very end of his career. How is he going to be remembered?
Well, a definite Hall of Famer for me. I know there's been a little bit of debate about that. Look, his defensive records alone and just winning these championships, 2 different teams as well. What he did for Toronto, I think, will never be forgotten there, going to that team and essentially putting them on the NBA map. Yeah, there'll definitely be people that he's always had his doubters throughout his career, but he's been a very good player. I know someone you've always really liked. You've always liked him more than I have.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think he'll be, once you sort of get over some of the injuries and the games missed, I think he will be remembered fondly, and just as being a quirky guy, right? Just that laugh, that video that had his ridiculous sized hands, some of those different things like that. He will certainly be remembered in that way.
Yeah, look, I mean, we talk about KD, young KD and old KD as 2 different people. I always think of Kawhi, that young Kawhi, before the episode with the Spurs and the injury and Tony Parker and Pop, that young guy who was is a different person to the person we see today, right? Yeah,
true. I'm loving that hat today, Wood. So you're going to have to go out and get a new Clippers hat with the new logo, right? So
yeah.
completely change that.
Yeah. All right, so thanks for that, Robbie.
Hey, you haven't forgotten something, have you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Card of the week, man.
Card of the week.
My
of
bad.
course. So,
My bad.
look, it's getting harder and harder to pick one. I was, as you mentioned, I was going through some of my old NBA folders today, just some gold that came up, right? Seeing a Brian Oliver card who we got to meet when we were at Atlanta. Some of these random sort of, hoops and Fleer. Had heaps of these Fleer Ultra ones you like. Heaps of those Topps Finest ones as well, which I'm a big fan of. But
they're awesome.
I've gone a completely different one this time. So thought I'd rep another Hawks, right, Woods? It's been a couple of weeks since I've shown a Hawks one. So this week I'm showing a 2021-22 Panini Recon Glorified Auto card of our Bogdanovic. So look at that, nice autograph on that one. So this particular card is numbered 10 of 99. So it's a pretty rare card.
Move it to your left a little bit.
Doesn't have a lot on the
nice
back there, but you can see the nice signature there. So it's what they call a sticker auto. There's on-card autos and sticker autos. The on-card ones are a bit more sort of, but it's a really nice card there. And look, someone we both really like, right? Bogdanovic. Someone that had a couple of monster games and we saw him play live. Funny story about this as well, Woods. I went to watch the Hawks' final preseason game. As I've mentioned before, I'm a sicko with those things. For some reason, I thought it started half an hour earlier than it did. So when I turned it on, they literally just had a camera on the court, right? And for some reason, all the Hawks had gone back in. It was just Bogey out there with 2 training staff. So for literally about 15 minutes, I watched this. There was no sound or anything else like that. He's got one of the sweetest shooting strokes I've ever seen, honestly. In 15 minutes, I reckon he missed... And he was just shooting threes, mind you, really getting a workout. He probably missed 3 shots in 15 minutes. It was unbelievable. Every shot was literally not even touching the net. So, yeah, one of the great shooters in the league. Really glad the Hawks got him. We don't get many free agent signings there. He's someone that's been there for quite a while now as well. So, yeah, thought I'd show a bogey card today. And that's this week's card of the week, Bogdanovic.
Awesome, and really excited to see how he goes this season. He might even start, I'm hearing.
Maybe.
Is it? Yeah. All right. Thanks, Robbie. Sorry for forgetting that. It's a new segment and all. So let's get into some NBL talk, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to bring up a few topics for you, and then let's just unpack a few things. Firstly, I want to start out west in your home state.
Yeah.
A lot of worried fans about the injury to Bryce Cotton. He was taken off the court with a rib injury. He was taken to hospital. Now, I've just heard reports today come out that the medical staff let him catch the flight back to Perth, say he was all right, and it may not be a broken rib, but further tests will be done in WA over the next few days. Whichever way you look at it, he's going to miss some time, and how is that going to impact your Wildcats?
Look, there was a lot of media outlets reporting straight away he's broken his rib there. I thought that was a bit interesting there. I don't know where they got that information from. Look, that was pretty hard to watch, wasn't it? I believe the initial injury occurred in the Cairns game the week before, and he was sort of carrying that injury in. Geez, it was a tough game for Perth, though. Losing him in the first minutes of the game, obviously, if he'd have been out for that game, he would have had a completely different game plan throughout the week and everything like that. So it was pretty bad seeing him go down. I don't think any Wildcats fan would sort of ever wish that to happen there. No. So good news that he's managed to fly from there. That's a pretty decent flight from New Zealand back to Perth. They do have that big game against Sydney. But yeah, you're right. I think and look, I'm not sure if you have, Woods, I've had really badly bruised ribs and basketball injuries maybe 2 or 3 times over my lifetime. One of them literally was so bad that I couldn't sleep properly for 5 weeks, and I couldn't cough, I couldn't sneeze, and it was just the worst, right? It only sort of felt okay when I was standing up for some reason. So even if he's got something similar to that, he's not going to be able to take the court. You can put on rib guards and other things like that, but it's too big a risk there. He's not like the biggest sort of person as well, and he is a player that people tend to try and be physical with, and rightly so. So bad news. I'm still waiting for the official confirmation, and I guess we'll find that out soon. And this will certainly test the depth of the Wildcats, won't it?
Definitely. And Todd Withers, as an injury replacement, it's seeming more and more crucial that you guys went about that to get him signed up. With Dylan Windler's injury history, now Bryce Cotton, you've got an able-bodied import there willing to step in right away.
You're right. Someone that's shown in that game that he can sort of still help a team, I guess, there. So look, the Wildcats do have some decent depth in the backcourt. They've got the young guns in Pepper and Henschel. Ty Webster I thought was really good in that game against the Lakers there. So it'll mean more minutes and more opportunity for those guys. But I mean, how do you replace Bryce Cotton? You can't, right? I mean, I've said it before, second best NBL player I've ever seen after the great Gazy. So it's a tough one, and really sort of eager to find out what the actual prognosis is.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that plays out over the next few days. I mean, for the league, you want Bryce Cotton to be fit and healthy. For this Wildcats team had a lot of promise this year to go all the way to the championship and hasn't
we weren't
started.
expecting 2 and 4, were we?
Season hasn't started as expected, so they'll need him back. So wish him nothing but the best. All right, I want to move from the west to far north Queensland to Cairns, and I want to talk to you about Taron Armstrong.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind he is a precocious talent, right? And he's the future of Australian basketball. But this kid can't stay healthy. He's always getting injured. It's a 28, maybe 30, 35 game season in the NBL if you get to the playoffs, play in, right?
Yeah.
The rigors of an 82-game NBA season, where he wants to be. He wants to be in the NBA eventually, correct? Right? The rigors of an 82-game season, the travel involved, that is a lot to take on when you can't even seem to stay healthy for an NBL season. So is it a case of him getting his conditioning better, working with the medical staff on certain things? I mean, is this a concern for you? Let's just say.
Definitely a concern, Woods. I'm wondering now if he's actually going to have missed more games than he's played over his short NBL career. It'd have to be similar numbers. I'll have to fact check that one there. But yeah, it is a concern. It looked like it wasn't too bad, and then they announced 3 weeks, I think. So another 2 to 3 weeks, maybe like that. So I'm not sure whether it's soft tissue things or whether it's recurring injuries there, but I think it's an ankle this time, right? But yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he's not playing half an NBL season, how are you going to even consider playing in the NBA? Even though he would be playing massive minutes if he was to make it there. But no, it is a concern. It's a shame. We talked about Cotton as someone we want to see. When Armstrong's on the court, he's really exciting, right? He's had some really great games this year already. So it's a big loss for your second team, the Taipans.
Yeah, and also Kyle Adnam and Tad Duffelmeyer playing extended minutes. It's not good for this Cairns team. These guys can come in and give you some spot minutes off the bench, but for this team to be successful, and we saw the 3 wins that they've had, Taron Armstrong has been influential in those. So,
and it's put Rob Edwards in a tough situation, hasn't it? Potentially playing a little bit out of position there. He wasn't brought here to sort of be handling the ball. He's a shooter, and so that's been tough for him as well. But yeah, it's worrying signs for him. Definitely. So let's move from far north Queensland to Adelaide, where we're hearing some great news. Great news for the league. Montrezl Harrell has signed on for the rest of the season with the Adelaide 36ers. It is great news, isn't it? I was laughing yesterday when he got that shot. I'm not sure who fouled him. Did you see it? He jumped up and he was flexing his muscles and that. I thought, this guy is awesome for the league. This is something you want, right? So I'm glad. He seems to be loving his time here. I know you're going to ask me a little bit about 36ers later on in the show, but man, they've got some weapons on that team now. So yeah, I think really good. This will be, put the NBL on the map a little bit more. That someone with Harrell's talent is out here and playing well for them. So I thought that was great news. Yeah, really good.
And I think thanks Robbie, I want to pick apart something you just mentioned there about having characters in this league. It's very important you have personalities, people who don't mind being in front of the camera. That is what creates storylines and people tune in when they see characters. So 100%. It's a great coup for our league having him here. So
yeah, I mean, they get pretty good crowds in Adelaide anyway. Of course, you're going to go and see an Adelaide team when Montrezl Harrell's playing. He's going to be exciting. He's going to, put the team on his back there. So no, it's great for the news. I guess the first 2 things we had in the segment were kind of bad news things with the injuries, but this is certainly great news that Harrell's going to be here for the rest of the season. And
a little piece of news, information that Damon Lowry was saying is that in the 2015 draft, I think it's the 25th overall pick was Jarrell Martin, and the 32nd overall pick was Montrezl Harrell. So shout out to Damon Lowry for that little tidbit there.
I've got Montrezl Harrell's PSA graded rookie card in one of the folders behind me. I don't have a Jarrell Martin one actually, but yeah, certainly Harrell had the better NBA career of the 2.
For sure, but just 7 picks apart in the same draft, and they end up in Adelaide full circle.
Speaking of Jarrell Martin, Woods, he's put on a few kilos.
I mean, I think being injured for so long and not being in the not working out.
Yeah,
players can tend to put on a bit of weight, right? Okay. Let's stay in Adelaide. Jason Cadee, 400 games. He was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, came in as a development player all those years ago. I think must have been a while back now, 2000.
You were watching him, right, for West Sydney?
Yeah, it's going back.
The Whitlam Centre back in the day. He's
40, 15 years now, right?
Yep.
What a great servant he's been for Australian basketball.
Well, it's a great name in Australian basketball, firstly, isn't it? With his dad, Robbie Cadee, and everything like that. And no, he has been great. He's someone that sort of seems to just fit in with any team that he's on there. He seems to be beloved by his teammates there. He's another of those guys almost in that Angus Glover category that, you put him in NBL 1 in the off-season and he just destroys it. He's had some real good success playing in the NBL 1 North. But yeah, it was good to see him rack up that milestone there. And I could see someone like him, if he stays in shape, sort of continuing to just find a bench spot for another couple of years at least, right?
Yeah, for sure. 33 years of age, that's it, Robbie. And so
Yeah.
2010, yeah, so it's been 14 years in the league.
Yeah.
Very, very serviceable. And you're a good. His dad was saying on camera, if you're a good teammate, you turn up to work and you show a good attitude, you'll have longevity in this league, and that's
Paddy
what
Mills
he's had.
theory, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, something about Cadee as well. I mean, his basketball IQ has always been off the charts as well. He reads and sees the game really well, so that's no wonder he's still playing at this level.
Well, as everyone has said, all the pundits and media outlets and people in the know-how have said he's going to be a coach once he finishes playing. So,
wouldn't you? Yeah.
yep. All right. Let's come back home to Sydney. All right, I want to ask you a question. Brian Gorgian needs to have a serious sit down with his roster, with all his players, and sit them down and say, listen, some guys are going to miss out and not get the minutes they deserve. I need to tighten this rotation. Because the one problem is having too much depth. Having 11 guys playing the first 10 minutes the other day or something ridiculous. How is anyone going to get into a rhythm like that, right? Cam Oliver playing 12 minutes. Like, I don't understand what's going on. He needs to sit down and have a conversation with them, right?
I was thinking about this one today, Woods, and look, this was always going to be a tough coaching gig for Gorj, right? So I've joked and dubbed this team an all-star team, but look, essentially that roster is so deep there. This would be a tough job, but this is something that Gorj should have the experience and the know-how to sort out, right? Some people were a little bit critical with some of his subs patterns with these Boomers teams there, and you're right, he's basically got to tell some guys and make some hard calls on players, right? So I know I would have maybe said Sean Bruce, although he had that great game a couple of weeks ago. Is he someone that potentially really takes a limited role on now? He's got to work it out. He's clearly got some of his favourites on the team already, but you need to be playing your best players. But in saying that, I don't think it's panic stations for the Kings yet. They're looking pretty good. They've obviously dropped a couple of games, but yeah, you're right though. He does need to sort this out and make it a clear rotation that people know night by night where they're going to be, I guess.
I mean, you got to keep guys like Cam Oliver happy as well. You know, you're playing him 12 minutes. Okay, he seems like more of a team guy now, but you want him to contribute and be his best down the stretch of the season. You've got to feed the big dog, right?
I never realised he played 12 minutes. That's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah. Because he was just running with Galloway was doing well. Kawhi was on fire, so he just ran with the team that was doing well, which I get. But at the same point, you've got to manage the expectations of all your players. So let's see how that plays out. All right, the New Zealand Breakers are dangerous. They'll be way better than we thought. And I think that the job that Coach Petteri Koppinen is doing has been pretty solid, huh? He's got the team buying into his theories and his mindset, right?
I've been surprised, I've got to say. They've got a few guys that, obviously they had some name sort of signings, but then there's guys like Max Darling that came out and really, shot the lights out against the Wildcats in that game. Is it Andy Savage, the bloke with the hair? He had some decent sort of minutes over the weekend, and they've got some talent, no doubt about it. They've certainly got one of the best imports in the league. In PJC, we know that. But yeah, some of this other talent standing up, and I think Coach is getting perhaps the best out of them there. So we know that's a team if they can win. I think we might have called it in the previous 14 games at home. If they can win 9 of those, right, 8 or 9. They're definitely a big chance to make the playoffs, right? Then it almost they need to go just below maybe 500 playing on the road there. So certainly started off well. They've surprised a few people there, and yeah, I think a lot of credit's got to go to the coach.
For sure. And when you talk about the start of the season, a lot of people were high on SEM. A lot of people were high on Perth and Tasmania. People thought Brisbane won the Blitz. They're going to be competitive this year. Yeah. I mean, these 4 teams have really struggled, which means the door is open for the likes of other teams to come in and make a play for that play-in, right?
I mean, teams like New Zealand, Cairns, some of those teams that are have started off pretty well. Absolutely, they're a big chance to make this play-in tournament.
And Matt Mooney, that guy can fill it up, right?
Yeah, he's a good shooter, isn't he? Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other things that stood out for you?
I mean, like I said about Cotton, really sort of, I guess, nervously waiting to hear what the news is there. I mean, look, sounds like there's no chance of he playing this week. I think even if he's escaped that broken rib and it is just badly bruised or a sprain or something like a strain, he won't be playing. But yeah, it wasn't great to see that. So we might not get that marquee Wildcats versus Kings matchup this week. But I know we're going to go through the games now. Woods, I had a quick look at the schedule. Like, it feels like every game is like a cracking game this round coming up. So looking forward to chopping up with you about these games.
Let's do it, man. That's a good segue. So let's start off on Thursday night. We got the Breakers and SEM.
The 2 hottest teams in the NBL. Right?
Who you got there?
Look, I think New Zealand a bit more home cooking, staying at home, seeing their families sleeping in their beds. I think that'll that'll be a decent game this one. But yeah, expect them to get the win. And we've got double header on nearly every night of the week, don't we?
All right. Well, that Friday doubleheader is going to be awesome. We got to start off with Illawarra and
Thursday.
Melbourne.
Yeah, Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday
Yeah.
doubleheader. Yep, Illawarra and Melbourne, the second.
That's a huge one, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, Melbourne will be pretty disappointed. Should I just pat myself on the back now, Woods, for that new coach theory that I spoke about last week? I know you listened to me, put some money on one, so
Yes.
hopefully some other
Thank
of
you.
our listeners or viewers listen to me talk about this new coach theory that seems to always happen. And yeah, it happened, right? So South East, very well deserved win there. But I think Melbourne will be looking to bounce back. This is a big game, right? Down at the Gong there. So I know Illawarra is definitely the form team and on top of the ladder, but I'm going to say Melbourne come into town and get a win in this one.
Oosh. Depends on Shea Illy. He's
You're right, yeah.
you know, if he's out, I would give it to the Illawarra Hawks.
So is he not playing Woods because he's a little bit illy at the moment? Or?
Yeah, I heard he's. I think it's a soft tissue injury. I don't think he's ill, but yeah.
It was a good joke, though, right?
That was a great joke. All right, let's move on to the Friday doubleheader. We've got Adelaide and Cairns. Ooh.
That's a big game too, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like these Adelaide home games now. The crowd's certainly into it. We spoke about, obviously, having Harold there. Jarrell Martin will be, another game to sort of, find that game sort of fitness and everything else like that. I've got to say Adelaide at home in this one.
Taran's out this week as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Adelaide for sure.
Kendrick Davis as well is putting up great numbers. I love that hesitation dribble the guy's got. He's really exciting.
I tell you, Kendrick Davis, the first game he played, I thought this guy could be a bit of a traffic cone on defense, right? But in the last few games, his commitment on the defensive end to stay in front of his man, get in the passing lanes has been brilliant, man. I think he had 4 or 5 steals the other night,
player.
right? Like,
I
really
find it
good
hilarious.
player.
I think I saw someone say that he's listed at 6 foot. That is ridiculous. He's probably closer to 5'9" than 6 foot, but whatever height he is, he's certainly playing well.
Definitely like him a lot. All right, Wildcats and Kings, a full strength Kings with the undermanned Wildcats.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to give that one to the Kings, right?
I mean, this is where I'd like to see the Wildcats step up. Maybe sort of have a game plan where Dylan Windler's the focal point of the offense. Keanu Pinderwoods, what is he doing this season? So he's the guy that I'd love to see come out in this game playing against the likes of Cooks and Oliver and put up 20 and 10. That's the Keanu Pinder I'd like to see. That's the money he's getting paid to do, and he's just not delivering. I don't like to speak bad about him. I know you're a big fan of the guy, but he's been really poor this year so far. Not quite sure what's going on. He's not on at crucial moments there. So this is where he needs to put the team on his back and say, okay, Cotton's not playing in this game. I need to step up and show my worth there. So in saying that, it's going to be hard not to pick that Sydney All-Star team. Hopefully Gorj continues to play everyone too many minutes and throws them off there. But yeah, I don't like to say it, but I think Sydney might get up in this one.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw what happened a few weeks ago, right? In the corresponding game.
Elijah Pepper went crazy and nearly got you guys back in the game, right? That game. I'll tell you what, though. It's not all Keanu's fault, I don't think, right? He had 26 points, had a hell of a game in that first opening night. The second game, he basically didn't play at all. We thought he was injured and stuff. John really just didn't play him. Then he got concussed. He's come back, and John really... He had what? I think he had 8 or 9 offensive rebounds in one game, and John really didn't put him in the game on the defensive end down the stretch, right? I think it's a combination. We need more from Keanu, but I think him and John really might not be on the same page. Am I wrong in
I think
saying that?
There seems to be something going on which we haven't quite found out about, but hopefully they can get on that same page and he can start to deliver.
Definitely, it'll be... I mean, it's in the best interest of Perth that they do get on the same page. All right, let's move on to Saturday. We've got another doubleheader, and we've got SEM versus Illawarra. SEM at home.
It's a monster round of games, isn't it? We've got like 8 games or something. Yeah, look, I've picked obviously Illawarra to lose that first game, so I don't expect them to drop 2 in a row there. So, look, it might be a tough round for South East. They've just had that win. The whole coaching thing's a little bit strange. I know people are not keeping his job. It sounds like they found a replacement, but yeah, I see the Hawks going in and getting a win there.
Let's talk about this replacement a little bit. What do you know about him? He does not even have a Wikipedia profile, right?
I don't know much. I had a bit of a look around as well. I'm not sure I'm loving this move, Woods. You're coming in, what are we, round 5, round 6? You're bringing an overseas coach in that doesn't know the ins and outs of our game. For me, I don't know why they couldn't have given Sam McKinnon a go, right? We've seen a couple of opportunities where he's had that interim tag there. Potentially could have, been better to bring in a new coach in the off-season, but they've got some deep owners and some high-profile, deep pockets and high-profile owners there, so they want to bring in someone they think is going to do the best job, but I'm not so sure that someone can come in from outside of the league and really, sort of get going straight away. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. His name's Josh King, right? He was coaching in Europe and he just signed on with the team. But once this opportunity arose for him to come to Southeast Melbourne, he just quit on his team to come here because he's 39 years old. He was coaching in college. So many eyes on the NBL. He's obviously come here because he feels it can further his career. But you come here and you coach in a league where you're not familiar with the way the game's officiated. You're not familiar with the way the game is played, the style of play, the pace of play. Coming from Europe, it's a lot different, right?
He must have some sort of connection with the Phoenix there, I would have thought. There must be someone involved in that front office that has a connection with him. Otherwise, that just seems like a strange hiring, doesn't it?
I agree. So with the Phoenix, they're probably going to lose both these games, but I don't see them as someone who's really going to make the top 6 this year, but it's about building for the future. So I think even if they lose and put in some good performances this weekend, the front office will be happy. All right, let's move on. Brisbane versus Tasmania. I think Tasmania is really struggling at the moment, and with Brisbane buoyed with 2 victories in a row, I'd give them that advantage in that game, right?
Hey, Woods, I know we've got our true-false segment later that people are really enjoying. I'm going to throw a true-false at you right now without any warning there. So if Brisbane win this game, Tasmania miss out on the finals. True or false?
I think they miss out on the finals already.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah.
Right?
This seems like a huge, like a must-win game for them, right? Because what are they, 2-5 now, I think? 2-5, I think it is.
Yep.
If they drop this one, they're in a world of pain now. That's sort of getting up to nearly that third of the games played in the season there. And they're not really showing a lot. They're a pretty hard watch, I reckon. They're pretty offensively challenged, I think would be the nice way to describe them this year. So, yeah, massive game. I think they will win that one. I think they'll be up for it and they will win it.
Yep. You think Tasmania will, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool. By the way, SEM, something on injury watch. We got Derek Walton Jr. who left with a hamstring injury. So watch this space. He might not be fit for both those games.
Yeah, Ben Air time. Yeah.
Potentially, right? Good to see him we saw a Ben Air sighting the other day, which is good, right? All right, so we got the doubleheader on Sunday, Sydney versus New Zealand.
Will you be attending?
I will be.
Nice. Sydney's got to win this one. It feels like every team's got a back-to-back. I think maybe the only teams that don't are Adelaide and Brisbane, if I'm not mistaken, and the Wildcats. There's only 3 of the teams not on back-to-back. So, yeah, Sydney get their home game, New Zealand get their away game. So, look, you've got to say Sydney in this one, but this could be closer than maybe what people think. Yeah,
it'll be a good game. I think New Zealand always come into Kudos Bank Arena and compete, and Parker Jackson Cartwright likes the rings.
They always seem to have a few fans as well, right, in the building. There seems to be a few Kiwis in Sydney that go and support the Breakers there.
Definitely. Yeah, they always do. And final game of the round, Melbourne versus Cairns at John Cain.
Yeah, I think Melbourne's going to bounce back from that disappointing one last week. This could be a tough weekend for the Taipans. So, yeah, United for me in this one.
Yep, I'm not going to disagree with you there. So
good round, wow.
Good round, and I think we'll get an idea of the ladder and how things are shaping up a little bit more after these games, right?
Yeah,
round 6,
flying too, right?
1/3 of the way through almost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. All right, so Hawks talk, man. We haven't done this in a while, this segment, and I thought as we are approaching the NBA season, 2 sleeps away. I think 3 sleeps from our first Hawks game.
Yes, I think Wednesday Australian time there's 2 games. I think obviously Boston are playing just 2 matchups, and then on Thursday a lot of the teams play. So yeah, looking forward to. I'm even not going to the city that day, so hopefully I can see a bit of our Hawks in that first game against Brooklyn. I think is it.
Yes, it's against Brooklyn, right? Okay, so let me throw 2 questions to you. First one is, how ready to contribute will Zachary Risachier be this season?
How do you say his surname again, Woods?
Risachier?
Risachier.
Risachier.
Come on,
all right.
Get with it. Yeah.
Risachier. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
All good. Mate, I'm really excited about him. Look, there's going to be a bit of extra pressure being that number 1 pick. There's no doubt about it. It's amazing how much easier it would seemingly be if he was the 3rd or the 4th pick even there, because he's always going to have that number 1 pick next to him. And if he has a bad game, people will be like, "Come on, he's the number 1 pick." But in saying that, I've liked some of the stuff he's shown in the preseason. I think he's very versatile. We've spoken about before. He's someone that clearly wants to learn. He's got good bloodlines there with his dad, being a good player for the French team there. So I'm looking forward to it. The more I saw him in the preseason there, he's a good passer. He can get to the basket. He's not going to jump over you. He's not going to be the fastest one down the court, but he's just got that good basketball IQ. As I said, someone that's willing to work there. And I'm really looking forward to see how he goes.
Yeah, me too, Robbie. And some of the concerns around him is he ready to contribute right away? Is he going to be learning on the job for the first year or 2? I mean, is his skill set too raw right now to be a regular contributor in the NBA? Or is he more of a, let's stash him, let him learn for a bit, and then in 3 years' time we'll really see the fruits of this draft?
No, I think he's a lot more ready than that. The one thing I found hard is he actually looks a bit like Jalen Johnson on the court when you see the two of those guys. They've got similar numbers, similar hair, similar build and everything like that. But no, absolutely, I think he's someone that will contribute straight away. I could see him being a 6th or 7th man on this team. I think they want to show him. They want that Hawks public to sort of get behind and support this guy and everything like that. And I think Coach Schneider's going to enjoy sort of putting him into different lineups there. So, no, absolutely. I think he'll contribute straight away.
I agree with you. And just quickly on Jalen Johnson, you mentioned him, right?
Yeah.
Now, for this Hawks team, first of all, this Hawks team is really fun to watch, by the way, Robbie, right?
So, yeah.
So for this team to really potentially make some noise, get to the playoffs, they're going to need a lot from Jalen Johnson this year. I know you're huge on him. What kind of growth do you expect from him?
I mean, the only concern I have with Jalen Johnson Woods is his health, right? We've seen a few injuries, a couple of freak ones last year that weren't quite his fault there, getting taken out on a fast break dunk, almost that similar injury like that Bogdan had all those years ago when he hurt his wrist there. So saying that, say you can stay healthy there, I think he could average, 20 points, 7 boards, 6 assists type thing. That's the sort of talent I think this guy's got. If he stays healthy, I have picked him, I think, maybe for most improved or right up there anyway. I've talked about him being a future All-Star Woods, and I stand behind that. I absolutely think he could be a future All-Star. Hopefully I'll be closer with this one. I've brought it up before, the Torian Prince one. Maybe that wasn't the best prediction there, but I love what I see from this guy. Even in those limited preseason games, he was the best player on the court. He's really improved his three-point shot as well since coming out of Duke there. So we got him at pick 20 or something in that draft a couple of years ago. So I think it could end up being a great draft pick, and I think the sky's the limit for JJ.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with you. Now, I want to ask you, how do you think the first 20 games of the season will go for Atlanta? I mean, if we are actually competing for a playoff spot or a play-in spot, we'll run the course with this team. But if we're struggling and we're, let's just say 6-14 in the first 20 games, there's food for thought that we start a rebuilding phase here. What do you think?
Well, firstly, my head says in the first 20 games, we'll probably go 10-10 because that's a Hawks sort of thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
My heart would love to say, and I have looked at that initial schedule, especially the first 10 or so games. It's not bad, right? Playing a lot of those Eastern Conference teams that are projected to be below the Hawks there. So say we could come out and be 7-3 or 6-4. That sets us off well. And then you sort of just do those little, play at 10 games at a time sort of thing. Get through to Christmas and then the All-Star break, those sort of things like that. But look, if they could win, say they win 12 out of 20 Woods, it's only 2 games over 500, but that's huge, right? And then alternatively, if they go 7-13 or 8-12 or something like that in those first 20 games, that's not going to be good, right? That's when I think, the rumblings will be in, maybe questions might be starting to be asked of Quinn Snyder and those great red glasses that he wears there. So I'm confident we can start well based on that schedule as well, but look, every team is starting off 0-0 and expects to have a good year, right? So those teams I've mentioned, your Brooklyns, your Charlottes, your Washingtons, the teams that we're going to be playing early, they're trying to win, or certainly trying to win now before they start, sagging for flag or whatever they're calling it. But yeah, got to get a good start, and I really hope they do.
Yeah, likewise. And I've just got a quick depth chart put together with what I think might be our starting lineup. I've got Trey, Dyson. I actually got Bogey at the 3, Jalen at the 4, and Clint at the 5 starting. Would you agree with that, or you think DeAndre Hunter might get the start?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the one that maybe flip. I know they like bringing Bogey off the bench. It's something that has worked. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start off with him doing that. We know he'll play more minutes and have a better role than DeAndre Hunter. This seems to be the year that DeAndre Hunter's got to do something. Onyeka Okongwu actually hit a couple of threes in that last preseason game. So is this finally the year where he stays healthy and improves his shot there? Because you know what you're getting from Capella, right? He's a solid player, but he's very much, back to the basket, the gritty sort of play there where he doesn't do anything spectacular there. So I like some of the depth. I know we've spoken offline, Woods, about Kobe Buffkin. So the young guy there that's looking to get some backup minutes now with the Jonte out of the team. He's a sneaky sort of tall left-handed point guard there, which I think will cause some mismatches for people. Vit Krejci, might get some minutes. I like mentioning him. Garrison Matthews. There is some depth on that bench.
Yeah, I mean, I think an underrated signing is Larry Nance Jr., right?
Yeah,
and in the preseason, we've seen him in that dribble handoff situation is very, very effective.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a glue guy who can just sort of bring together, and he can play with the starting unit, he can play with the bench crew. And our team needs a contributor with experience. So
I'm
I think
hearing he's made
great.
a great impression on his teammates as well, Larry Nance Jr.
Not surprised.
And apparently David Roddy has as well. So the big unit there, David Roddy. So he's someone that they're high on as well there. So Dyson Daniels as well, Woods hitting those threes in the preseason, playing that good defense that we know he plays there. So yeah, what a exciting time, right? When it's 0-0, we can be optimistic and all upbeat about the Hawks, and let's hope we have a good year for them this year.
For sure, and they're going to be really fun to watch, as I said. So excited to see how that all plays out and how we kick off the season, Robbie. All right, so now we've made True or False a regular segment on this show now because everyone loved it, and just kind of it's something that encourages conversation from our viewers. What would you have said? Is it true or false? And people reaching out to us. So we've kept it, and it's going to be a segment going forward. Yeah?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
All right, so let's kick things off. I've actually done a bit of a mix, and let's kick off with the Atlanta Hawks team, right? True or false? So the first one I give to you, the question I give to you, is the Atlanta Hawks will have all-star representation this season. True or false?
So firstly, I want to say true because I think Reece Shea will play in the rookie game, and maybe Bogey or Trey plays in the three-point competition there. But no, I think Trey makes the All-Star game. Woods. This would be his fourth appearance if he makes it. He did make it last year, I think, as an injury replacement, if I'm not mistaken. There, I think his numbers could take a bit of an increase without DeJounte there. So it all depends, right? If they're around that 50% mark, he's a chance. If they're 5-6 games under, he won't be because they don't traditionally like picking people. But I say true to that one.
Yep, I should have phrase the question a little bit better. I know we will have representation at rookie games, three-point shootout, but in terms of the All-Star game itself and selected in the All-Star team, I agree with you. Trae Young. All right. The Adelaide 36ers are now a title contender. True or false?
I even surprised myself with this one. I've got true in capital letters, Woods. So look, you have to say so that they are for the first handful of games. This is a remarkable turnaround, really, isn't it? After what that we sort of predicted coming into the season, what we saw last season. I've got to say this roster's really deep. I think Woods, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken there, this is the best import trio in the league.
Sure.
It's got to be, right? It's Jarrell Martin, Kendrick Davis, and Montrezl Harrell, right? That's about as good a trio as we've seen there. And we've mentioned before, they've got some really good Aussie talent. You've got guys like DJ and Isaac Humphries combined with those three imports there. So absolutely, I think they're a title contender, and pretty crazy to think, isn't it?
Isaac Humphries has learned to play alongside Montrez as well, and he's been brilliant.
Could you play all three of them in a front line together?
No.
That'd be massive.
I mean, you'd have to seize on the opposition, right? If there's potentially a large front line in the opposition, maybe for spot minutes.
What do you reckon, true as well? Or?
Yeah, I think true. And I think Sunday Dech is someone who's not getting credit. I spoke about him last week. He's the guy who's enlisted with the task of guarding the best guy on opposition teams, and he's been doing great. He's knocking down that open three.
He is, yeah.
I'm a big fan, right?
Any given Sunday, right?
Yeah, the Sunday driver, right? Yeah. All right, so yep, I agree with you. So now we were doing our predictions about who would be our top 10 in the NBA last week, right? And I think what was the big discrepancy we had? It was between Phoenix and Sacramento, right? You had Phoenix higher, I had Sacramento higher, right? Yeah. So I said to myself, why is Robbie so high on Phoenix? I mean, they had no depth whatsoever last year, right?
Yeah.
What did they do this year to change that? And lo and behold, I saw that they'd actually signed one of the greatest backups in the league in Tyus Jones. So my question to you is, the Phoenix Suns acquisition of Tyus Jones is the most underrated signing of the offseason.
Yeah, big true for me. I'm a big fan of Jones. Have been for a couple of seasons now. Yeah, I mean, he was great with Memphis as that backup, playing those meaningful minutes when Jar was out. He was in a tough situation in Washington. It's not always the greatest team to play in at the moment, but I think he's exactly what this Phoenix Sun team needs, Wood. So he finally gives them a true point guard. They were trying all sorts of point guards, weren't they? Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, even Grayson Allen at times last year. And you wouldn't say all three of those guys are traditional point guards. So Tyus Jones comes in, he plays defense, he'll feed all those guys there. So I think he'll have a really sneaky good season there. And I think they got a steal there. I was surprised he lasted on the free agent market as long as he did. So yeah, it's a true for me.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. And Monte Morris has come in there as well. So they've got some 2-point guards there that can man that, right? And get these guys into their sets, right?
Yeah.
And I think looking there as well, the additions of, I think, Mason Plumlee's there as well this year. I think they've added, so they've got a bit of depth there. Royce O'Neal, another glue guy. So I think Phoenix are going to be better than I thought. I think I might have missed one there, and you might be onto something.
Let's hope so.
All right. Excuse the pun, but the swords are out for Craig's sword in Tasmania. He will be the first import released in NBL 25. True or false?
True, firstly. I don't want to be harsh on this guy, Woods, but to me, he's an NBL 1 type import, this guy. He really is. He's a certainly above average defensive player, right? There's no doubt about that. Offensively, he's not great. He's undersized. Yeah, I think he will be. That was pretty weird, though, wasn't it, that he didn't play the whole game? Then Scott Roth put him in the fourth quarter and then came out and apologised to him after the game for putting him in that situation, which was interesting there. But I think you've got to make a move soon, right? You know, we talked about this game against Brisbane being a do-or-die game. If they lose this one, I think you've got to make a move. How much longer can you sort of keep this roster together? You need someone that can come in and put points on the board, because this team is struggling to score. So there's got to be some sort of gunslinger out there that can come in and put shots up and make shots there. And I just don't think they need someone like Craig Sword on this roster.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, well, really exciting weekend ahead. Cannot wait. We were going to do classic packs today. We're already at 46 minutes, so maybe we'll do it. We'll do it? Yeah, we'll do it. All right, cool.
We haven't done it for a while.
We haven't done it for a while. I've got the 92, 93 Ultra Flares.
Nice. All right. Looking through a couple of these today, right? So nice.
Hopefully these series 2 are better than the ones previously.
It's not going to be that pack we had with a bunch of no-names. Was that a Flair Ultra that time? I think it might have been, right?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I got 4 of these, right?
Okay.
And this is the third one I'm opening. All right. Number 20 from Dallas, a guard. I have no idea who he is. I don't know nothing about him.
Really, not a great start then.
Tracy Moore.
Wow, I remember that name. I wouldn't have known what colour he was or what team he played for if you just said the name. So not a great start. Let's see if we can do better.
Okay, number 54 from the Indiana Pacers, right? Kansas College, white guy. You'd know this guy.
Brad Lohaus?
No. He went to Kansas.
Oh, Rafe LaFrance.
No, Greg Dreeling.
Okay, yeah, I remember him with Orlando. Look at that. One thing I've got to say, looking through the old cards I was looking through today, Woods, there were so many big white guys back then. And also pretty much every team had someone named Randy. And the other thing I noticed as well is every head coach back in those 90s teams there was about 60 years old, minimum. Things have changed.
Yep. Things have changed. Look at Joey Maz.
Yeah.
He's in his 30s. Right?
Can't. Give us something good.
All right, I've got something good.
All right, good.
Left-hander, great Atlanta Hawk. Number 2. Number 15th ranked dunker in the league at this stage.
Yeah, great college career at UNLV. At time, obviously, with our Hawks, the Plastic Man. Had some time with Detroit and Portland as well. So, yep, big fan of that guy.
Stacey Augman.
Nice.
A rare athlete after alternately gliding, then exploding with seemingly little change in effort. That was a quote about him.
Yeah,
right? Nice.
No, he is fun to watch.
Okay, this guy is number 6 on the dunk rank for the year. NBA Jam Session card. Number 34, Phoenix Suns. The great mound of rebound.
Well, Sir Charles. Yeah, he was a pretty sneaky good dunker, wasn't he? That's a nice card, actually, that one. He'd get the defensive rebound and take it coast to coast and just, hang on the ring there. So that's a good card. We're improving him.
Yep, I remember this guy playing on those Rockets teams under Rudy Tomjanovich. White guy, forward.
Scott Bullard.
Matt Bullard, yep.
Close, yeah.
Matt
Scott's
Bullard.
his brother, yeah, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah, he was one of those original, big guys that would come out and stretch the floor, wasn't he? So he had some
definitely.
great moments on that team. They didn't sort of hang around in the league a lot, but he got a chip, didn't he, on that team?
Yep. Oh, this is awesome. So I've got the Ultra Flair rookie card of the most dominant big man ever in the 90s.
So it's got to be the dream, right?
No, Shaq.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
92, 93.
Yeah, that's actually worth a bit.
That's worth a bit, man.
That is worth a bit, yeah. I'll let you know about that one. Maybe I'll have to steal that one off you when we see it next.
That's really nice, that one. Yeah,
that's very good.
Okay, this is actually not a bad pack.
It's improving.
I've got... All right. Terrific college coach, New York Knicks guard, went to the NCAA finals game a couple of years ago with college as a coach. Number 44 New York Knicks guard.
Number 44 for the Knicks.
Yep. And he's coaching. From memory, he's at his alma mater. Yeah, Tar Heels.
Oh, Hubert Davis.
Hubert Davis.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
he was a pretty handy player, wasn't he?
Very handy, man.
Yeah. These are nice looking cards. We got a picture on the back of these, or is it just? Oh, okay, so you got the double picture. Wow.
Yep.
Fancy.
Okay,
Show me the back of that Shaq one before you go onwards. Show me the back of this great Shaq rookie card that you've pulled.
I've got this somewhere else already. Yeah.
Nice. I might have to get that graded.
Yeah. Okay. I've got no idea who this guy is. These Series 2 ones, very big, stiff, white stiff. Number 8, Phoenix Suns.
Tim Kempton.
Yeah. That is very good, man.
I'll tell you something about Tim Kempton, Woods. I remember seeing a highlight video of him, right, where he basically jumped over one of the team's benches to save the ball, right? So he jumped over, all good. Went to jump back over the other way, tripped over the bench, and basically fell flat on the floor. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So I always remember that. That was a pretty good get, that one, right?
Yeah, that's a very good get, man. I've got to give you credit there. Okay, we've pulled these guys' cards so many times. Was in the dunk contest and the three-point contest. Media career afterwards. Washington Bullets guard, number 3.
Rex Chapman.
Rex Chapman.
Nice. That's a nice looking card. Yeah, he was quality.
Okay. Golden State Warriors forward, number 55. The white guy went to Kansas as well. Averaged 3.1 points a game for Phoenix in 91-92 before signing as a free agent with the Golden State Warriors.
Have you heard of this guy?
Yes.
Not Judd Pushler.
No. Ed Neely.
Okay, well, didn't I send you a card? I sent you a card of Ed Neely for Phoenix today, and it was the most random picture of a card.
That was just today.
That's pretty ironic that we pulled him today, yeah.
Okay. Pretty sure his father, his son, and his grandson have played in the NBA. His son played for the Charlotte Bobcats and got injured. He was really highly touted out of college. Now his son plays in the NBA as well. So third generation. Atlanta Hawks guard.
Not Travis Mays.
Travis Mays.
Wow.
Obviously, I think Sean Mays is his son, and they've got a, isn't it?
Because there is Skylar Mays in the league now. I'm not sure if he's related to Travis Mays there, but yeah, he wasn't a bad player there.
Skylar Mays is Sean Mays' son, isn't he?
Yeah. We'll have to fact check that one.
Yeah.
What college did he go to? Temple?
Texas.
Texas, okay. Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yep. Then I've got New Jersey Nets guard number 12.
Bennett? No. Kevin Edwards?
Tate George.
Tate George. Okay, yep. Do you remember him?
Okay, Philadelphia 76ers guard. This guy was awesome. Number 3. Came off the bench. Played for Charlotte for a while in those early Hornets teams. Double G.
Greg Grant. Played for the Clippers as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yep. He was. What's his height listed as? He was someone that looked quite short.
5'7".
5'7". Okay, well, he was short. Okay, interesting. Yeah, he wasn't bad. Like a little bug out there.
And rookie from the Spurs in 92-93. This guy was undrafted. I do remember him though vaguely.
David Wingate.
Lloyd Daniels.
Oh wow, of course Lloyd Daniels. Yeah, he was the one that had all the drug problems. Coming out of he was highly touted out of high school actually as well, and I think that was when they had coach Jerry Tarkanian, right? He sort of managed to get Lloyd Daniels back on track there. So he was a New York legend as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
Lefty point guard there. Yeah, it's not a bad one. So that was a mix. That was a mix of players, wasn't it? That's the last one, was it?
That's the last one. Yep.
So we had Shaq at the top, and who were some of the? Who was that first one you pulled that we didn't know?
We had Tracy Moore.
Okay, so from Shaq to Tracy Moore. But not bad, though. We got Charles Barkley, we got Shaq, we got Rex Chapman. Got a couple of names there. And I pulled a Tim Kempton and a Gary Grant out, which I was pleased with. So, no, that was fun.
And no, it's Sean May. And
Sean May.
Yeah, so there's no relation between the two. Just double check that.
It's a different surname, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, cool. You want to take the audience out with where we can be found, all that jazz, Robbie?
No, of course. So yeah, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We can be followed on X at Throwback Hoops. We'll get the jerseys out. We'll also post this great Bogdanovic auto card. So looking forward to the card of the week segment, Woods. It's been a lot of fun deciding who I'll do for that each week.
Yep.
Basically, Twitter is at Throwbacks Hoops, Instagram throwback.hoops, and email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Also, Patreon, if you want to pledge some support, a couple of dollars a month would really help us out with the costs that we incur with getting this podcast and YouTube video up each week.
Awesome, Robbie. Great. It's been a great show. We've covered a lot of topics. Got some special guests coming in the next week or two, I presume.
Absolutely. We do. Yeah, we're going to try and have a bit of a WNBL and WNBA focus next week, as well as talking about the opening round of the NBA and the NBL. So got a lot to talk about. Yeah, definitely some guests. Not only next week, we've got some good ones on the horizon that I've been sort of chatting with over the last few weeks, and some guests that I think people will really enjoy.
Awesome, Robbie. It's been awesome. Any final thoughts?
Mate, fingers crossed that Bryce Cotton isn't badly injured. I think probably I'm not just saying that because I'm a Wildcats tragic fan there. I think you'd be saying the same. The league will be saying the same. So fingers crossed, and enjoy NBA opening week.
Definitely, everyone enjoy the games. Until next week, bye from Robbie and I.